First team all Big 12er, Kelly Levesque. And Kelly, we've got a good matchup in front of us today. These two teams, Baylor and Oklahoma, will obviously play their actual conference series about 2 months from now. But today, an opportunity to play in the non-conference slate.
Absolutely. It's always a great day to play the #1 team in the nation, but to have a fourth look at them in the season is just an incredible benefit to this Baylor team.
Oklahoma, of course, the two-time defending national champion, #1 in the country again, the favorite to win a title again this year. And also, as you take a look at the Big 12 preseason poll, no surprise, the favorite to win the conference this year. Baylor slots in at fourth, a team that a lot of people expect to get back to the NCAA tournament this year.
Yeah, Baylor may be one of those undiscovered teams right now. They bring in a ton of experience from a very young team last year. Got some great transfers that really helped this team out, and they have a chance to really prove it to the world here.
Give you a look at the Oklahoma lineup today here in the second to last game of the Getterman Classic. Jada Coleman will lead it off. Tiare Jennings, Grace Lyons, Haley Lee due up here in the top of the first inning. They will face Dariana Orm, the pitcher from Baylor, who just 2 days ago threw the first 7-inning perfect game in the history of this Baylor program.
Absolutely. Dariana Orm is the face of Baylor. She is that leader in the circle and in the dugout. She throws hard, but for her to be successful against these Oklahoma hitters tonight, she's got to keep that ball low and she's got to come at them. She's got to get ahead in the count. Those first pitch strikes are crucial here for her success.
She performed well against Oklahoma when they faced off last season during the conference slate, so you got to imagine that, plus her performance on Friday. She's coming in with some confidence today.
It's got to build some confidence, too. And like we said, she was leading that game, holding those Oklahoma hitters to 1-0 loss going into the final inning. Lost it on a 3-run home run. But, man, what a production and what a show she put on then.
It's Stacy Polson at first base, the umpire today. Brady Sanderson at third base, and Danny Bowman calling balls and strikes this afternoon as Orm steps in for the first pitch of the day against Jada Coleman. And it's in there for strike one.
We saw Dariana Orm on Friday night against that SFA team be so successful. She's throwing 14 first pitch strikes as she started that perfect game.
Starts off well with a strike. This one, though, upstairs. Count runs 1-1. Coleman comes in batting .333 on the year. The 2020 Gatorade National Softball Player of the Year. Oklahoma's kind of stacked up Gatorade National Players of the Year recently.
National Player of the Years, All-Americans. They've got them all.
Just outside, and it will be 2-1. Coleman, a Texan from just about an hour and a half north of here, the Colony, Texas. Won a state title with the Colony a couple years back. Now faces the 2-1 from Orm. That misses as well. So Orm started her with the strike, but now outside the zone the rest of the way.
And honestly, I mean, she's got to do that. She's going to have to mix speeds and locations, and she cannot give these Oklahoma hitters anything good to hit. That mindset of just crush the mistake, and they're going to hit and swing it hard, anything close. So she's got to have those close misses.
The 3-1 misses inside as well, and Coleman will start with a walk.
You never want to start the game with a walk, but man, those last two pitches looked really good.
It's Danny Bowman behind the plate this afternoon. Again, Orm coming off the perfect game, so to start with a walk is a significant departure from what she was used to on Friday night. Of course, so too is the Oklahoma lineup a significant departure from Stephen F. Austin as well.
Absolutely. I mean, just the batting averages and the approach. I think Oklahoma leads the nation in just about every category, offensively and defensively too.
Tiare Jennings takes ball one. Jennings, generally viewed as the best player in all of collegiate softball entering her junior year, hit 29 home runs last year after hitting 27 as a freshman.
And one of them was that 3-run home run that put that Oklahoma atop Baylor in that Sunday game.
This one straight up behind the plate. No chance for Collazos to get underneath it. Oklahoma, of course, losing Jocelyn Allo to graduation. Hope Troutwine as well. Allo, of course, setting the all-time record for home runs in a career. Jennings, through her first 2 years, is ahead of Jocelyn Allo's pace. That's the kind of start Jennings has had to her career.
Just an incredible hitter. And she's got to be good if she's only number 2 in the lineup, too. It just shows you how good this offensive Oklahoma team is.
That one gets in there for strike 2. And now Orm ahead of Jennings here. Oklahoma comes in 8-0 on the year. Baylor 6-1 so far on the season. Both teams perfect thus far in the Getterman Classic. Chopper right back to Orm. She's going to try and turn 2. Out at second, but safe at first. They get the lead runner.
Just a heads-up play right there, and that ball comes right back to Dari Orm in the circle. She turns around and knows she's got a great middle infield right behind her that can trust her. Almost just a little too nonchalant with that throw.
I wonder if Orm decided herself before she even made the throw to second. We're only getting one here.
Yeah, probably. And you know what? If you're going to get one, the lead one is the good one.
So one away as Grace Lyons steps in. Swings right through for strike 1. Lyons, another All-American on this Oklahoma roster.
Well, and a captain, too. I mean, this team is really built around her and her leadership. A lot of times you see it from the circle in a pitcher, but Grace has just stepped up, and she leads this team in so many different ways.
The 0-1 from Orm. Misses just low.
Grace is one of those players that's, like we talked about, she's just a leader. She's a captain. She plays hard. She's got talent, but she brings that spiritual aspect to the team, too. She's almost the face of Oklahoma softball. She just does so much for this program.
That one misses high, and it's 2-1.
I was just saying, you got to respect that. In an era of NILs and, you know, how can I better my name? She definitely takes her name apart and puts somebody else's name up ahead and really speaks on behalf of the program.
She waits on the 2-1 now from Orm. That one didn't miss by much, but it's 3-1 for the second time in the inning. Dari Orm coming off the perfect game on Friday night with the 3-1 delivery here to Lyons. In there for strike 2. You
can tell these Oklahoma hitters are being patient right now. They're trying to see what Dari's going to throw. They're not being too quick to attack at the moment. Kind of setting up that strike zone to see what she's going to throw and what Danny Bowman behind the plate is actually going to call.
Orm with her 15th delivery of the opening inning. Misses outside, ball 4. Jennings had taken off, but no need. The second walk of the inning, and it's runners on first and second now as Haley Lee steps to the plate.
Collazos just kind of talking to Dari Orm here and letting her settle down, kind of telling her where that strike zone is, where these pitches are missing, and hopefully just speaking a little confidence in her. She's a great pitcher.
No question of that. She showed that in full on Friday night, and she showed that last year against this Oklahoma team, in addition to certainly many other outings as well. But early on in a game, still trying to figure out exactly what the strike zone is going to look like for Danny Bowman. It requires that communication between the battery. But it's runners on first and second here for Lee. with 1 out in the top of the first. Strike one. Lee coming in, batting .474.
Just as a transfer student, just adding so much to this already talented Oklahoma team.
The 0-1 on the outside half of the plate, and it's 0-2. Lee coming over from Texas A&M, played 4 years for the Aggies before transferring to Oklahoma for this season. All SEC first-team performer a year ago. The rich get richer as Oklahoma brings in transfers from all over.
Want that extra year of eligibility. Why not have a chance at another national championship?
The home crowd here at Getterman Stadium wondering where that 0-2 pitch missed, but it runs to 1-2. Good crowd on hand here today. We expected a packed house, and it has played out just that way.
Before the game, both teams out in front of their dugout trying to get their fans up and going.
The 1-2 chopped to the right side, foul ball. Yeah, I think half the state of Oklahoma made their way down here to Waco today. They're filling up the first base side.
Maybe the other half is listening to us.
That's right. They do love themselves some softball up in Oklahoma, and for good reason with the success that program has had over the course of the last decade.
It's just incredible, the numbers. And you talk about a dynasty. It truly is.
Oklahoma looking to become just the second team in the history of the sport to win 3 straight championships. Swung through on that one by Lee, but she got a piece. They'll redo the 1-2. UCLA won 3 straight titles, 88, 89, and 90. The only program in the sport's history to author a three-peat. Oklahoma looking to match that this year if they can go win another title.
They're off to a great start, 5-0 on this season, and only having 1 loss last year. They are the team to beat.
Orm with a waste pitch there outside. It'll be 2-2 for Haley Lee. Orm needed just 81 pitches on Friday night for the perfect game against Stephen F. Austin. Already 21 tossed here in the top half of the first inning and still only 1 out.
Those are hard numbers to sustain through 7 innings.
Especially against Oklahoma. That, though, is popped up. Camping underneath of it was Tovin, and there's 2 away.
And that may be the most success that you see from Dari Orm tonight. I mean, these Oklahoma hitters are hard to strike out, and they are going to swing, and they're going to swing the ball or the bat hard. But if she can keep that ball low, have them make mistakes, pop-ups like that, miss-hit a ball, I mean, Baylor's got to play perfect defense, and they may get a win from this.
Yeah, nobody came into today with any expectations that Dari Orm was going to have another 81-pitch performance. Certainly not in 7 innings anyway against this Oklahoma offense, but what matters to her is keeping that 0 on the board, and so far, so good.
Or another 10 strikeouts either.
That's right.
But you see like a little pop-up behind the plate that Sydney Collazos missed. Like those little things, you've got to take advantage of those and get that free out in order to be successful.
The 0-1 here. Misses outside to Jocelyn Erickson. Erickson has been scorching hot to start the year, batting .643.
Well, and a true freshman coming in from Phoenix and Sandra Day O'Connor High School, just absolutely on fire. You think about just how hard it is for a freshman to come onto a D1 team and start playing and making an impact, but to do it for the #1 team in the nation.
Swings through that one, though, and it's 1-2. Yeah, Jocelyn Erickson is clearly not intimidated by the moment or by the environment that she's coming into here at Oklahoma. To be doing what she's doing through 8 games with the #1 team and the 2-time defending champ is pretty impressive. Dari Orm, though, with a chance to get out of the inning here. The 1-2 delivery. Fouled away. Once again, the 1-2 from Orm. Just inside.
Such a great miss, too. You can hear the crowd wanted that one.
Orm was all Big 12 second team a year ago. Off to a great start this year, trying to finish off the opening half inning. Count will run full, 3-2. It's Lyons on first, Jennings on second. 2 outs here in the top of the first on the final day of the Getterman Classic here in Waco. Orm with the payoff pitch. Right back up the middle, stabbed, but no throw available for Tovin, and the bases are loaded.
It's a great stop, laid all out, and just can't get up enough to, I mean, the speed of Lyons there made it to second before there's even a play.
Lyons and Jennings both moving on the pitch as well, and the speed of Erickson able to get her down to first. It's an infield single, and it's bases loaded for Alyssa Brito, the third baseman.
Tovin just holding that runner at third, too, keeping that ball in the infield, helped save the run at this moment.
The 30th pitch of the inning to second. In time to first, and despite an awful lot of action on the base paths, Dari Orm through the opening half inning scoreless. We head to the bottom of the first after this. Wilson to lead off here for the Baylor Bears. Misses outside with the first pitch of the day.
Similar to Dari Orm, this Oklahoma Sooners team saw so much from Jordy Ball last year as a freshman. Only a sophomore right now, but last year as a freshman, she led the nation. I think she was 6th in the nation with the lowest ERA. Finished the year with over 200 strikeouts. Just an incredible pitcher.
Jennings in time for the 4-3 putout. And Wilson's retired to start things off here in the bottom of the first.
I mean, that ball's looked too good for Mackenzie Wilson. I mean, just right down the middle, and she thought I could put it in play, but as that leadoff batter, after your pitcher just faced the inning that she did with over 30 pitches, she's got to take a little bit more time, take some pitches, and really help give Dari a break in the dugout.
In steps Taylor Strain, and she'll take ball one. Give you a look at the Oklahoma defense. Ball backed up by Brito, Lyons, Jennings, and Sanders in the infield. Haley Lee behind the dish. Boone, Coleman, and Torres in the outfield. Swinging through, fouling it away is Strain, and it's 1-1. Strain leading the way this year for the Baylor Bears, batting .636 through the early stretch of the season. Starting in left field again today. Her 6th start in 8 games. The 1-1 misses outside from Ball.
Well, this is much more of the at-bat that Mackenzie Wilson probably should have had. But, you know, Taylor's stepping up and becoming that second leadoff hitter. Seeing some pitches, like you said, let the umpire establish the strike zone. They can see kind of where those pitches are and make Jordy Ball work a little bit here.
Swinging strike to even the count at 2-2. Big cut there from Strain. A gaudy 1351 OPS early on this season for Strain. Now she faces the 2-2, swings through it and fouls it away. Another try at the 2-2. Ball skips it, and the count runs full.
It's just a good at-bat here now with full count. Taylor's really got to try and now fight off that pitches and see if she can make something successful out of this, win this battle.
The payoff pitch from Jordy Ball. Another foul off from Strain. But to your point, after it was such a battle for Dari Orm in that first inning, 30 pitches in total to get through the top half of the first. Oklahoma loaded the bases, but Baylor able to get out of the jam. Now the offense for Baylor needs to, if nothing else, give her a moment to catch herself, and Strain's going to draw a walk here.
Just a great way to win that battle, win that at-bat right there. Baylor needs to do a lot of those little wins. I mean, when you face the #1 team in the nation, you got to focus on the little things and do the little things right. Small advantages like extra pitches that Jordy Ball needs to throw, or a walk now on her record. There goes her perfect game. I mean, those little wins is really what's going to help chip away.
So now in steps Tovin. Tried to lay down the bunt. Chopped it foul. Tovin batting an even .500 on the year. 9 hits in her 18 at-bats. I beg your pardon, 12 hits in her 24 at-bats. That one misses outside. It's 1-1. Tovin, the transfer from Arizona. Played 47 games last year for the Wildcats. Scored a run in the Women's College World Series. Now she comes here to Baylor and slots in as the starting shortstop. Drops down the bunt. Well played at third by Brito, but that does advance the runner, and Strain up to second.
Well, that is the design of that play right there. I know the Coach Moore, what he called, and that is very much a sacrifice, but try to get yourself on. So I'm going to show it late, but the ultimate goal is to move that runner over.
Nicely played by Brito at third to ensure the out. And with 2 away, Shaylin Gavan steps in. Just inside, 1-0. Strain's got some speed on the base paths. Looking for an opportunity here from Gavan. The 1-0. In there for strike one.
Gavan does have some power, and she's got a great swing. She's putting up some good numbers already for this team on .455 on the season. But she's got to remember, too, who she's facing and the speed that Jordy Ball can throw at. She doesn't have to do too much with this pitch. She just got to get the right one and put her bat on it. In big games like this and heightened emotions and adrenaline's rushing, a lot of times hitters will get in there and try and do too much. They want to swing harder. They think they got to swing faster. Really, they just need to look for the right pitch.
The 2-1 delivery from Ball is in there for strike two on the outside half of the plate.
One thing Ball is going to do is she's going to throw it up in the zone a whole lot more. She definitely goes to that rise ball like right there you saw a little bit more. She leaves that down in the zone. That ball can go far.
Two away, runner on second, the 2-2 from Ball. Swung on and fouled straight back by Gavan. If nothing else, Baylor has accomplished what they were looking to by forcing Jordy Ball to throw some pitches now in this inning. 18, the 19th delivery on its way momentarily. Swung on and missed, strike three, and Jordy Ball retires the side. Scoreless through one. Oklahoma, the #1 team in the country, on the road against Baylor, scoreless after one. Govan in the infield, Strain, Wilson, and Hott in the outfield left to right, and Sidney Collazos behind the dish today. As Sidney Sanders, the first baseman for Oklahoma, steps in to lead things off here in the top half of the second inning. Sanders, Alina Torres, and Riley Boone due up here in the second for the #1 Sooners. So Dari Orm, those 30 pitches in the top half of the first, had to battle her way through, but kept Oklahoma off the board. Now she faces the bottom third of the lineup for the Sooners. Misses high and away to start the count against Sanders, the transfer from Arizona State. Had a fantastic freshman year for the Sun Devils. First team All-American, top 3 finalist for Freshman of the Year. 21 home runs. She had 21 home runs and looked at Oklahoma and said, they're hitting a lot of home runs over there. I'm going to go hang out with them.
Those are my people.
Count runs even 1-1 off the delivery there from Orm. Sanders replacing the graduated Talon Snow as the starting first baseman for Oklahoma. There were some questions coming into the year about what they would do at the corners, but certainly one of the likely answers was Sanders, and so far early on this year, she's proven to be a quality answer for them. Hasn't quite found her flow at the plate just yet. .263 batting average through these first 8 games of the year. But they certainly feel good about what her future looks like in the Crimson and Cream. The 1-2 delivery, swung on, fouled down the line. And they'll do the 1-2 over again. The 1-2 from Orm. On the outside corner of the plate, strike three. Sanders down looking.
That's got to feel good for Orm, too. You know, she kind of threw her, looked a little low, but perfect pitch right in the strike zone. And it's good to have that first strikeout under your belt and maybe relax a little bit and pitch.
So Alina Torres steps in now. Torres has really struggled to start off the year for the Sooners, batting .133. Just 2 hits in her 15 at-bats so far this year. That one catches the inside half of the plate. The 0-1 from Orm, swung on and hit hard down the line, but way foul.
Now she's got plenty of room here to play around, ahead in the count, 0-2. She's got to, I mean, you can't sleep on the bottom half of Oklahoma's lineup for sure, but when you're looking at percentages and stats alone, like this is the part that you really want to pitch and attack. Because when you go and you face that top of the lineup again, you know the battle's going to be against you.
Swung on and hit hard to straightaway center field, going back on it, bouncing off the glove of Wilson. Rounding second is Torres. She'll slide in safe to third. Alina Torres.
You said you definitely can't sleep on the bottom half of this lineup. I mean, ahead in the count 0-2, just left that ball up in the zone, and just a great effort by Mackenzie Wilson. Looks like the hitting the wall just couldn't hang on to it.
Wilson will certainly tell you that she would want to make that play and make that catch, but they do give Torres the hit. It's a triple. And after the first 6 pitches or so of the inning had looked so good for Dari Orm, she had really gotten off to an efficient start here in this top half of the second. Now a runner standing on third base with 1 out as Riley Boone steps in.
Yeah, with 1 pitch, she definitely made that a little bit more difficult on herself right here.
The first delivery to Boone, the chopper right back to her, and Orm's going to retire the second out of the inning. Just like that, that was a very big pitch and a very big out for Dari Orm.
She definitely needed that. And to get it on the first pitch is even better. Now we bring up the top of the lineup, and like we talked about, just the power numbers that this team can produce.
Jada Coleman steps back in. She reached via a walk in the top half of the first. Now with 2 outs here in the second, a runner on third. Outside corner of the plate, strike 1.
Looks like Orm really is starting to find that zone. She understands, and she's making that adjustment.
Orm pitched so well last year in the series finale against Baylor. Went 6 2/3, gave up just 4 hits, just 3 runs, and those runs came on that walk-off homer. That one's outside, quick throw down the line, safely back to third base is Torres. Count is even 1-1. Coleman sends it to short, right through the legs of Tobin, and home to score is Torres.
That is not something that you see typically from the middle infield here at Baylor. Tobin, who did so much at Arizona last year, gets herself over there in a position to make a play, but right through the wickets, they say.
That will go down officially as an error. They gave a hit to Alina Torres on the straightaway shot to center. This one goes down as an E6, reaching Jada Coleman and scoring the first run of the game. So now Jennings steps in for the Sooners. Strike 1. Over the head of Tobin into left field, 2 runners on. A 2-out rally here for Oklahoma. And the thing that's got to be frustrating for Baylor, for their head coach, for this defense as a whole, is each of the 2 plays prior to this hit just now from Jennings. Again, one of them didn't officially go down as an error, but both plays that the Baylor defense would say we should make those plays.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, and those are the little things, like you got to make sure to take advantage of the outs that you can get. And it's hard. Like, you have to fight hard for outs like that. Dari Orm's doing a great job of getting that first pitch in there, but I think the Oklahoma hitters have really made the adjustment to know, okay, that first pitch might be a strike, but her second one, she's coming in and it looks pretty good too. So, I mean, Dari Orm on her end of things have really got to try and mix up. You're going to see adjustments having to be made on both sides. Good hitters are going to make adjustments from at bat to at bat. they took 30 pitches the first inning to really see what they were throwing and what she can throw, and it's proving to be beneficial right now.
Couple of words there from assistant coach Brittany Sneed-Newman to try and settle Dari Orm down here with 2 on and 2 out in the top half of the second. 1 run across on the error. This one chopped to short. This time Tovin's on top of it, and that'll retire the side, but not before Oklahoma finds the scoreboard first. The error brings home capacity here in Waco, and just about every one of those seats taken up by Baylor and Oklahoma fans. This is the first of 2 here on ESPN+. We'll have Baylor and Army coming your way later this afternoon, originally scheduled for a 2 o'clock start. That clearly will not happen because this game would have to be done by right now for that to take place. But sometime later on this afternoon, we'll bring you Baylor and Army here on ESPN+ as well, as ball starts with one outside the zone here to Aaliyah Binford.
We talked about the capacity here at Getterman Stadium, and I've seen it full for a Baylor Texas game late in May or early in May, and you know, the Oklahoma game for sure come April, but I don't know if I've ever seen a sellout crowd for the Getterman Classic.
We are pretty close to full in terms of who's actually in the seats. I know in terms of sold tickets, they were announcing this as a sellout, I believe. Swung on and chopped down the line. That is foul. It'll be 1 and 2 for Aaliyah Binford, who's had a nice start to the year pitching as well for Baylor.
She had a great outing yesterday afternoon. Didn't get to see her hit, and I honestly feel like she's swinging a better bat than she's pitching in the circle right now. So it's good to have her back in the lineup today.
Just a terrific two-way player, was so instrumental in Baylor's run through the NISC last spring. That one misses inside, 2 and 2. She won MVP honors at the National Invitational Softball Tournament as Baylor went 4-0, beating UNLV in the final. The 2-2 swung on and fouled away, ricocheting off the chest of Danny Bowman, our home plate umpire. That one misses upstairs and runs the count full. Binford batting .529 on the year.
Said she can do it in the plate just like she can in the circle. She's a competitor.
The 3-2. That misses as well, and Binford's on with a leadoff walk. Emily Hott will step in, the right fielder. Hott has struggled early on this year through her now 8 starts, batting .111. Had a nice year a year ago, though, batting .331, 22 RBI. That's in there for strike 1. You got to imagine at some point she's going to find it with the success that she had a year ago.
She's got to. I mean, she's got a great swing, and that's just the nature of the baseball, softball game. I mean, you could be a great hitter and have a perfect swing, and a lot of times it's the mentality at the plate. What pitches are you taking? What pitches are you swinging at? Is there something in your swing that you're missing?
Drops down the bunt here. Well executed, but far off the bag. They nearly caught Binford napping off of second base, but she's able to get back. Hott with the sacrifice. 1 away, and Binford down to second.
I think Binford trying to be aggressive there, almost stealing a bunt and run set in place. Turns out turns second real big to try and take advantage of third, but doesn't realize just how quickly Brito is able to get back to the base.
That's twice now that Alyssa Brito's made a really nice play on a sacrifice. But Anna Watson, the designated player, steps in now with a runner on second and one away, cuts through the first offering.
I mean, that's a lot of the chess game that Coach Moore likes to play. He knows he's got speed on the bases. He uses that to advantage. Okay, how can I manufacture a run? It's going to be hard. We can't just rely on home runs. We don't hit home runs. But how can we put some bases, string some base hits together, maybe bunt and run a little bit, move these runners along to try and get a run across. They're only down by one. It's not a lot.
That one misses high, 1-1 to Watson, who's got a 400 batting average early on this year.
It's almost imperative right now that you really got to match that run for run, too. Can't get too far behind or too complacent with the Oklahoma team. You can't wait till the fifth inning or sixth inning to try and get back this run. You never know what the next inning's going to hold.
The 31st pitch of the day from Jordy Ball is a strike on the outside corner, and it's 1-2 to Watson. So it's Binford on second off the walk and the sacrifice from Hott. And Watson waits on the 1-2. Swung on and fouled into her own leg. And they'll do the 1-2 over again. You see the aggressive nature of Aaliyah Binford on the base paths as well, Kelly, with the way that she's been trying to manufacture an opportunity here for Baylor.
She's just like we talked about. She's a competitor. She's aggressive to begin with, but that's how Coach Moore coaches his team too. You know they practice that in practice, and this isn't the first time they've seen it.
Big swing and a miss from Anna Watson, and there's two away here in the bottom half of the second. The second swinging strikeout of the day for Jordy Ball.
And that's where that rise ball is so effective for her. I mean, that's going to have to be an adjustment that the Baylor team makes, knowing that she's going to go up in the zone.
Chopped right back to the pitcher. Ball to first in time. Collazos retires the side, and through 2 innings, Oklahoma with a 1-0 lead on Baylor. Can you share a little bit about what the message is there and what the excitement is like for your team to have this opportunity against Oklahoma?
Well, if I knew her message, I'd let you know. I don't know what it is, but she's a great leader for us. And again, we're just trying to get better. It's a non-conference game, and a great opportunity to improve, see some great pitching, and face some great hitters, and we'll know where we are at the end of the day.
Glenn Moore, the head coach of the Baylor Bears. Coach, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. So as we start off here, this third inning, Oklahoma coming back to the plate. Haley Lee, Jocelyn Erickson, Alyssa Brito due up for Oklahoma. And Kelly, we heard it from Coach Moore just a moment ago. Giving a team like Oklahoma 5 outs in an inning, just not the type of thing you can afford. They are fortunate just 1 run resulted from that, still very much alive and with an opportunity to do something about it.
Yeah, and I love just the mindset that, you know what, this is not conference play. This is not the Big 12 tournament. This is not the World Series. This is pre-conference. This is early in the season. This is tournament play. And it is about growing and getting better individually and then as a team. And you know you're going to face them again in the late October, or late April. So let's just focus on the little things right now, make adjustments, become a better player.
2 months from Tuesday, they will play the first game of 3 against Oklahoma, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of April, right here at Getterman Stadium. That one didn't miss by much, and Dari Orm gave a second look at home plate umpire Danny Bowman, wondering where did that pitch miss, but it's 2-0 for Haley Lee.
You can kind of tell it's a little bit of a frustration. You saw it on her face in the first inning, trying to figure out where that strike zone is, what Danny Bowman's going to be calling, and she's throwing the best that she possibly can. She wants some of those calls, though.
The 2-0 framed nicely by Collazos, and it's in there for a strike, and it's 2-1.
That's what I think Coach Moore is just talking about right there, too. You got to be careful with that pitch. It looks like she was probably taken on a 2-0 pitch, but gosh, you cannot leave a ball like that in the zone for these Oklahoma hitters.
The 2-1 now for Haley Lee. Orm leaves it just inside, and it's 3-1. Chop to the second baseman. Pylon in time. And there's one away here in the top half of the third.
Well, Daria Orm's got a great defense behind her. Makes that ball just look easy right there. Kind of hit off the end of the bat, but Pylon did a great job just ensuring that out.
You can almost feel the body language of Daria Orm right now and the back and forth between her and Danny Bowman. You can almost feel like she wants to, dude, I threw a perfect game on Friday night. Give me a little bit more wiggle room here with this strike zone.
Well, and you can tell she's passionate. I mean, she's rallied her team up, and she is a leader. She's a leader in the circle, and she knows she's got to do better and she's got to pitch better, but she's also trying to encourage her team and get them excited and pumped up too. And it's hard when you feel things are out of your control.
The 0-1. Just inside, and Orm covering her mouth in reaction to that one being called a ball.
I'm kind of with her on that. Now, granted, I'm up here from a higher view, but she can't pitch better than that right there.
I guess it must have missed low because it certainly caught the plate. The 1-1 from Orm. Fouled away, and it's 1-2. Erickson reached via single in the first.
When you have two different pitchers, like we talked about, Jordy Ball is going to really come up in the zone. She's going to work up with that rise ball a little bit more. She definitely mixes that in. Where Daria Orm's pitches are definitely down in the zone. She likes to throw that drop curve, even just a screwball in and out. But she's going to keep the ball low, which she needs to against power hitters like these. But it's very difficult when you have an umpire who's not calling one or the other.
It'll be a 2-2 delivery here from Orm. So Jocelyn Erickson has already got 4 home runs on the year. Misses high, 3-2.
She's trying to throw that ball that it's probably not her go-to. She knows she can throw it. She's got to mix it up in there. But great pitchers have to make adjustments like that. Sometimes you have to throw outside of your forte.
The payoff pitch chopped down the line right to the first baseman, Gavan, and there's 2 away. So Orm, despite the frustration, pitching through it and retiring batters here.
Absolutely. She's able to get inside just enough for her to hit off the hands, make an easy out.
It bears repeating the performance that Orm had against Baylor a year ago in the series finale against the Sooners. 6 2/3, went through that entire stretch not giving up a run. But then the 3-run walk-off homer from Jennings to win that game for the Sooners. In talking with Patty Gasso before the game, she said, listen, she was frustrating for us last year. And there's been a similar element of frustration here early on in this game. Again, without Baylor giving Oklahoma, as Coach Moore called it, 5 outs there in the second inning, this game might still be scoreless.
Yeah, you can't give them too much, and you can definitely see an adjustment that Dari's made coming into this inning.
The 0-1 to Brito, slapped right back up the middle for a base hit.
With the exception of that one right there, these Oklahoma hitters hadn't hit anything really hard.
Yeah, that's certainly the squarest we've seen somebody hit anything other than Torres's triple there in the second inning. Those 2 are the hardest hit balls of the day by far. Brito got a good bit of this one, though.
You can see just from that replay, too, though, just how up that ball was in the zone, and that's not Dari's style.
So here comes Sydney Sanders once again with 2 away and a runner on first. Sanders struck out looking to lead off the second inning. That one's in there for a strike. The 0-1 chop to Tovin. In time to first, and Orm with a 1-2, beg your pardon, the one hit from Brito, but retires the side with the put out there of Sanders. And it stays 1-0 Oak Country, Oklahoma, with a 1-0 lead here in Waco as we start the bottom half of the third inning. Mike Leslie and Kelly Levac here with you. Big 12 now on ESPN+, the final day of the Getterman Classic. For Baylor to lead off the bottom half of the third, Presley Pylon, the second baseman, against Oklahoma's Jordy Ball. And she takes strike one.
Pylon's just been such a great addition as a transfer from LSU, really making a difference in that middle infield, but at bat too. Hitting .368 coming into today.
That one misses outside, runs the count even 1-1. Pylon at LSU played in just 9 games last year for the Tigers. Decided Baylor might be a better home for her and very quickly has entrenched herself at second base. Has started every game this year for the Bears.
And I know Coach Moore gets really excited about his middle infield and what Pylon and Tovin bring to this team.
That one slapped up the middle for a base hit, the first of the day for the Baylor Bears.
See why he gets excited about them. It's a great piece of hitting right there. Again, Jordy Ball throws that ball so hard, you don't have to do a whole lot, but you do need to be on time and get that bat on the ball. She keeps the bat down in the zone and gets inside out on that swing, takes it up the middle.
Ball and her now 1.58 ERA with 37 pitches on the day, finally giving up a hit today to this Baylor offense, and it's the 9-hole hitter Pylon. Back to the top of the order now for Wilson. She'll look to drop down the bunt. Again, Brito on top of it. This time bobbled it, though, and safe at first is Mackenzie Wilson. Around to third goes Pylon.
And that is that speed and that movement that we talked about earlier. That's exactly how it should be done. A little bunt and run. Mackenzie puts down a great bunt. Great job fielding it, but Brito's momentum is taking her so much in the line, she can't make a decent throw on there. Speed of Wilson just beats it out.
Well, she kind of double clutched trying to get it out of her glove as well, and that allows Wilson to be safe at first. They will label that a hit. The single, the infield single for Wilson, and now runners at the corners for Taylor Strain and her .636 batting average.
When you see Lee hustle down to third base, because people are moving all over and leaves home unattended. So you have people running every which way, which you don't see that a lot for an Oklahoma team.
Strain squared to drop down a slap bunt, pulled back but took strike one. Strain reached via a walk in the first inning, made her way around to second base on a sacrifice from Tovin, but no further. Seven hits in 11 official at-bats this year for Strain. The 0-1, running and safe at second base is Wilson.
Different mindset for every team on how they approach that first and third situation. I think ultimately Coach Moore's goal is I'd rather have runners at second and third with one of my top hitters up rather than trying to score and do any sort of trickery and score from third.
So now second and third for Strain. 0-2 count, though, here from Ball. Swung on and missed, strike three. the third swinging strikeout of the day for Jordy Ball.
Just that rise ball got her again. He said you can do a lot with that ball when it's left up in the zone, but the movement's just too much. Jumps right over the bat.
So now Tovin steps in. Dropped down a sacrifice in the first. This one right up the middle. That'll score at least a run. Home is Pylon. Holding at third is Wilson, but Baylor's tied the game on an RBI single from Amber Tovin.
Just a great piece of hitting right there. Like, again, goes down and gets that ball. That's not a bad strike. That's not a great pitch to be hitting either, but just a great piece of hitting to get at least one RBI.
So runners at the corners once again, and Gavan will step in, and a mound conference, a circle conference here for Oklahoma and Jordy Ball after she had cruised through the first 2 innings. Now 3 hits in this bottom half of the third for Baylor, all 3 singles to score a run and tie the game.
And again, they're not doing too much. They're not focused on who it is, but they're playing their game. I'm going to put the bunt down. We're going to move over. We're going to steal and make sure that we're safe here at third. We're going to swing the bat hard and string some base hits together. Like you said, 3 base hits scores a run.
And the crowd here at Getterman Stadium feeling it a little bit here in the bottom half of the third as Ball prepares for the first delivery here to Shaylin Gavan. Swung on and missed, strike 1. Tipped and fouled back. The 0-1 from Ball. Misses low. Three singles in the inning for Baylor to score a run and tie the game. Runners on the corners here. 1-1 delivery. Swung on and hit hard down the line and left. That is gone. A 3-run blast from Shaylin Gavan, and Baylor's got a 4-1 lead.
What a hit, but what an at-bat. Just complete composure by Gavan right there. And you know, she got called on that strike. First pitch swinging, but she waited again for a good one to come. She takes that low pitch in the zone and just gets all of it. Been saying it all game, you don't have to do too much with it, but you just got to get a bat on the ball, and you can see her excitement there.
She tossed the bat. She knew that thing was gone off the crack of the bat. And Baylor with 4 here in the bottom of the third to take the lead. Gavan with her 2nd home run of the year. It's just the 5th for Baylor as a team this season. Now that one on a line right to Jennings and caught for out number 2.
You can sense the excitement. These Baylor hitters are in there and they want to swing the bat. They want to keep it going, but you can't let the excitement of that 1 home run and a lead in the game take you away from your mindset. I mean, you still got to settle down. You got to show some composure, and you still need to make sure you're going to get a pitch from Jordy Ball. We just saw it. You just got to wait for it.
So now with 2 away, it's Hott that steps in. That one's chopped foul. But after Ball had been so efficient through the first 2 innings, now 47 pitches on the day.
Definitely making adjustments here to her pitching and stringing it all together, really putting back-to-back as a team.
That one misses high for Hott, and it's 1-1. Baylor opened the inning with a single from Presley Pylon. Mackenzie Wilson followed with the sacrifice bunt that would go down as a hit as Brito couldn't quite get the ball out of her glove. They gave Wilson the hit for that. After a swinging strikeout by Strain, the single from Tovin loaded the bases. Beg your pardon, the single from Tovin scored a run and tied the game at 1. And then with 2 on for Gavan, the 3-run homer down the line and left to give Baylor a 4-1 lead here in the bottom of the 3rd. Count is 2-1 for Emily Hott. Fouled away. Count is even.
Emily Hott slowing things down here a little bit, taking her time, getting that pitch.
The 2-2 from Ball. Swung on and missed, strike 3. And Oklahoma is out of the inning, but not before 4 runs in the frame from Baylor. The 3-run blast from the #1 team in the land. Trailing 4-1 as we start the 4th inning. And good enough to join us now is the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners, Patty Gasso. Coach, obviously, maybe not the timing you were hoping for this interview right after that half inning, but what do you make of what just happened there, and how do you guys bounce back?
Yeah, look, it's February, so these are things we need to feel, the things we need to learn. We embrace it. It's good for us. So now I'm anxious to see how we respond.
Coach, you've had incredible teams. What excites you about this team this year?
Just strength throughout the lineup. We just got to get it kind of situated out here. Don't want to be peaking too early, but I'd like to see a little bit more aggressive, in my legs kind of swings from us. I mean, we're better than just grounding out, although pitcher's doing a fantastic job.
Absolutely.
Coach, obviously, when you and I spoke before the game, you talked about how important it was for your team to be able to figure out how to make adjustments. This seems like a kind of the example of a circumstance like what you were talking about, without asking you to give us your game plan the rest of the way. How do you adjust to a circumstance like this?
Just better at bats. Like if we can turn some things into walks and get runners in scoring position. I think we're hitting the ball hard. We're just hitting it at people. So there's nothing that we're doing horribly wrong. I just think our legs can get involved a little bit more. We're getting jammed at times. So we'll sort it out. That's what we're here for.
Patty Gasso, the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners. Coach, thank you so much. Good luck the rest of the way. Her 29th year with the Sooners. Back-to-back national championships, 5 titles in the last 10 years. Won her 1,400th game at Oklahoma just a couple weeks ago. But right now with her team in a 4-1 hole as we start off the 4th inning. It'll be Alina Torres to lead it off for the Sooners, the 8-hole hitter. Dari Orm gave up the 1 run in the 2nd inning, but has been quite solid thus far, and starts off Torres with a strike.
You heard from Coach Gasso just how much, she may be frustrated with not getting some of those calls, but she is keeping them. They've hit a couple of square balls really hard right at people, but Dari Orm's been most effective just getting those ground outs, those little flyouts.
The 0-1 misses low and outside. Count is even 1-1. We do line these interviews with Coach Moore and Coach Gasso up before the game. It was planned to do Coach Moore at the top of the 3rd, Coach Gasso at the top of the 4th. It just so happened that not the timing I'm sure Coach Gasso would have preferred, to talk to us right after that half of an inning where her team gave up 4 runs to fall into this hole. That one misses outside as well, and it's 2-1.
I know it takes a lot away from them. They're in a mindset, they're coaching, they're thinking game plan. They're playing chess right here with one another, and it takes a lot of them out to do this interview. So I appreciate them taking their time, because it is fun to get inside their brain and to see that side of the game too.
But you're right, it's a sacrifice for them to make, to spare that little bit of time for us, and more than anything, like you say, take them out of that headspace where they are so focused on the game and what they need to do. We really appreciate Coach Gasso and Coach Moore for spending a couple minutes with us there at the top of the third and the top of the fourth. Two-two count now for Torres. The delivery from Dari Orm. Swung on and fouled straight back. Once again, the 2-2 from Orm. Her 66th pitch of the day, swung on, fouled down the line and left, and out of play.
Torres is fouling off everything he has to offer, and she's hitting the ball well. She's not trying to do too much with it. Dari hits that outside corner. She fouls it down the first base line, and then now comes in, jams her, fouls it off the other way.
The 2-2 once again, chopped to third. Binford in time for out number one.
I think if you just look at that hit again, that's the legs, the lack of legs that Coach Gasso was talking about. Torres is doing a lot with her hands and hitting that ball where it's pitched, but there's not a whole lot of legs in that behind it. Almost gets caught off guard a little bit and can't hit it strong.
So in steps Riley Boone. They'll call for time. A year ago in that, I guess a little less than a year ago, in that meeting between Baylor and Oklahoma in the series finale where Orm pitched so well, she had 105 pitches in those 6 2/3 innings. Right now she's up to 67 on the day with one away here in the fourth. And a 1-0 count here to Riley Boone. Boone was third on the team in batting average a year ago for Oklahoma at .408. A member of the all-tournament team at the Women's College World Series. The right fielder takes a strike on the inside corner of the plate, and it's 1-1.
Kiyazo's having a little conversation with Danny Bowman back there. Again, that pitch looked pretty good.
The 1-1 from Orm misses outside as Boone squared to consider a slap bunt. Count runs to 2-1. The 2-1 now from Orm. Three and 1.
Boone just being extremely patient right here. Dari with a smile on her face, but I think she's pushing back some. Can't help but laugh at this point. Just wanting some of those calls.
Yeah, she and Danny Bowman have not exactly seen eye to eye over the course of this afternoon. The 3-1 from Orm. That's in there for a strike. And the count runs full.
She uses that curveball to come across the plate. Makes it look inside, but finally getting it up in the zone.
Orm with the payoff pitch to Boone. Swung on, slapped right back up the middle for a single for Boone. And it's a one-out base runner for the Sooners.
Takes that same pitch and able to keep it up the middle. Tovin looks like she's playing up for that slap or short hit from Boone with 2 strikes, but just hit it right by her.
So back to the top of the order now for Oklahoma. And Jada Coleman steps in. She's reached twice, once on a walk, once on the error by Tovin, as part of that 1-run second inning for Oklahoma. 1 away, runner on first is Boone.
Oklahoma dugout did not like that call.
I was going to say, it feels like things have all of a sudden shifted. Ordinarily, it's been Orm that's not liked the calls from Danny Bowman, but that time she got a borderline call.
You really can't help but laugh at this point. It's just kind of funny, both sides.
It really is one of the most enjoyable, unspoken back and forth. There's not many words actually exchanged between pitcher and umpire. But the glances and the looks and the body language, that one swung through and missed by Coleman, and it's 0-2.
I think my favorite was I'm going to walk up to tell my catcher something, and my catcher turns around and dusts the plate off. All right, noted. It's the little parts of the game that you don't always get to see, but, you know, they're competitors.
The 0-2 to Coleman. Fouled down the line and left. Will it stay in play? No, it will not. Binford gave chase, but it will stay 0-2 to Coleman, the leadoff hitter.
They're able to get a little laugh together right there. Anytime that softball hits that brick wall over there down the line, tends to scuff it up a little bit. Can imagine with the brick facade all the way around the top half of here, how many softballs the Baylor team must go through in a year. That and the little Bermuda Triangle up here above the awning.
Yeah. That one misses outside. 1-2 now for Coleman. Orm up to 77 pitches now on the day. Coleman a year ago was 3rd in the country in on-base percentage at .584. The consummate leadoff hitter for this Sooners lineup. Here trying to add to their base runner tally. That's in there for strike 3 looking.
And that's been the call that Daria Orms wanted all day today. You could just see that she uses that curveball. She keeps it down in the zone, comes across the plate, right at the knees. Precise.
And there's 2 away here in the top of the 4th.
Such a big out, especially when you can strike out looking that, like you said, that quintessential leadoff hitter for this Oklahoma team.
So now Jennings with 2 outs in the inning. And Boone still stuck on first. Way inside for ball 1.
I think anybody watching in today can really just see how mental this game is and how much of the competition really takes place between the ears.
Orm has that one chopped to the left, and that'll go in for a single for Jennings. 2 on now with 2 outs for Oklahoma.
Of course, there's the physical piece like that right there too, but I mean, you got to produce, and that's just a great piece of hitting.
Finding the gap between Tovin and Binford is Jennings. And that sets the table here for Lions, who has seen her batting average dip just below 500 now on the year at 474 after being retired earlier in the game on the 6-3 putout.
I think I'd be okay with a 474 hitting batting average too, though.
Lets that one go by for ball one.
Got your super senior captain here up to plate.
Member of the USA Women's Softball National Team, a first-team All-American a year ago. Great on the defensive side as well. This one hit right at Binford, but caught on a line to end the inning.
That's why they call it the hot corner. Wow.
The line out to Binford to end the threat. And Baylor still in front, 4-1, as we head to the bottom of the fourth. Let's give you a look at the last time these two teams played. The series finale in Norman back in March of last year. Oklahoma won that game 3-1. We talked about it earlier. Dari Orm with just a fantastic performance kept Oklahoma scoreless right up until that T.R.A. Jennings 3-run homer to walk it off.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't discount this Oklahoma team. They're going to play every out and get their money's worth. We saw that back last April with 1 out left in the 7th inning. They were able to come ahead.
So far today, Orm has been able to scatter 6 Oklahoma hits to keep them at just the 1 run. That, as Glenn Moore talked about earlier today, if they hadn't given Oklahoma arguably 5 outs in that 2nd inning, that run might not be on the board. They'll say that Anna Watson did go around there, so the count will run even at 1-1. She wasn't quite able to check her swing. That one catches the outside half of the plate. As Jordy Ball is into her 4th inning of work.
Yeah, it looks like they call it illegal pitch right here.
So they say the count should be 2-1. Swung on and fouled away. I'm fairly sure that what we're picking up from Danny Bowman is that we should have an evened up count at 2-2.
Yep, you are right. So what are you showing right here?
Okay, yes. A little more confirmation, good to see. 2-2 count. Watson leading off here for Baylor in the bottom of the 4th. Strike 3 outside corner of the plate.
You know, no one can be perfect. That's just a backwards at bat by Anna Watson right there. I mean, that ball looked a little low, definitely on the outside corner, but after a check swing and then a watch strike that turned into an illegal pitch, you just can't. She didn't look very enthusiastic to swing the bat.
That's the 5th strikeout of the day for Jordy Ball. She starts with 1 outside the zone here to Collazos. That's in there for a strike to even it up at 1-1. So for the folks at home, Kelly, give them a little bit of insight into what would lead to that pitch being called an illegal pitch there by Jordy Ball.
It could be any manner of things. It could be the fact that she brought her hands together and then separated them again after she got the call from the dugout or from the catcher. It could be the way she set her foot up on the rubber. And it could even be like, what you see a lot of times is that illegal hop, like a crow hop afterwards. But you're starting to see less and less of that. Pitchers are catching on and they're growing through it. But a few years ago, you saw a lot of that crow hop, that extra push off, really.
Yeah.
Is just an advantage. So since it came from down the line, it's got to be one of those things. if it's the separation of hands or if it's outside of the pitching zone, you can see like the chalk lines coming off the rubber.
Yeah.
That illegal pitch is usually called from behind the plate, but it could be any manner of those things. Well, like I said, since it came from behind third base, I'm assuming it's some sort of foot placement,
Yeah.
illegal crow hop or a slide.
Ball was able to muscle through it and still get the strikeout looking of Watson, her 5th K of the day. Now a 1-1 count to Collazos after the mound conference there with head coach Patty Gasso. That one misses inside, 2-1. Collazos grounded out back to ball in the 2nd inning in her 1 appearance so far today. This one also straight back up the middle, but in the air and caught on the run by Lyons. Nice job to track that one behind second base.
Just some great defense right there. I mean, she's known for her bat, but she's a defensive player of the year last year. I mean, just track down that ball and basket catch over her head, no big deal. While the center fielder's coming in.
Says a lot about the quality of player Grace Lyons is, that you're right when you say she's known for her bat. She was fantastic at the plate last year, over 400 batting average, 1343 OPS, 23 home runs, 70 RBIs, and oh, by the way, was the 2-time defending defensive player of the year in the Big 12. That is as complete a player as you could ask for in Oklahoma shortstop Grace Lyons.
Absolutely, and that's just on the field. I think Coach Gasso would, making her captain this year too, can attest that she's that same solid player as she is a person off the field. Just the strength of her faith, her academics, her whole person.
Pylon fouled that one away, so it's now 0-2 for the Bears' second baseman. She had the leadoff single in the 3rd inning that started off that 4-run rally for the Bears. Now with 2 outs, fouls it away once again, and they'll do the 0-2 over again. Pylon started it off with the single. Mackenzie Wilson laid down what was intended to be a sacrifice bunt, but she was able to make it down to first as Brito couldn't get the ball out of her glove. A strikeout of Strain, but then the RBI single from Amber Tovin to tie the game, and the 3-run home run from Shaylin Gavan to give Baylor this 4-1 lead. That one misses outside. Count is 1-2 now for Pylon. The 1-2 swinging strikeout of Presley Pylon. And 1-2-3 in order go the Bears here in the bottom half of the 4th, but they still lead. Number 1, Oklahoma, 4-1 as we head to the 5th here at the Getterman Classic in Waco. Aaliyah Binford now stepping in to the circle to take over pitching for the Baylor Bears.
And Daria's doing a great job. You could tell she was kind of struggling with the strike zone a little bit. But this may just be enough of a mix-up for these Oklahoma hitters, kind of extend the lead here for Baylor. I mean, Aaliyah Binford pitches a little different than Daria Orm. She's still going to see the same inside-out screwball, curveball down in the zone. But Binford has a great off-speed changeup that's really going to mix the speeds here for these Oklahoma hitters.
Binford will face Haley Lee, Jocelyn Erickson, Alyssa Brito here to start off in the top half of the 5th. Certainly went around for strike 2 there, did Lee. And it's 0-2.
Well, that's that off-speed pitch. I mean, you'll see that a lot. Aaliyah will mix it in all over in the zone, but just keeps them off balance, but can throw it for a strike at any point.
So now the 0-2 from Binford. Lee is 0 for 2 on the day. Flew out to short and grounded out to the second baseman in the first and third innings, respectively. Now faces the 1-2. That got her for strike 3. And a good start for Aaliyah Binford.
Well, that is what makes her so successful, because she not only does it mix the speed and keeps their off balance, but she can throw it for a strike. It's really hard to adjust to that. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Aaliyah pitches for an inning or two and Daria Orm comes back in and closes it out.
Now she faces the lefty Erickson. Chop to first. Good stab by Gavan and steps on the bag.
Just incredible defense right there. That's such a hard backhanded play to make. Coming up off of that hop. And then hustles back to the bag. Just a great job.
Give you the final stat line here for Dari Orm. 4 innings pitched, scattered those 6 hits, 1 run allowed. It was not an earned run, as the error led to the 1 run of the day so far for Oklahoma. 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. In line for the win right now. '82 pitches in total. Lowers her ERA now on the year to 0.82.
It's incredible.
Fantastic start to the year for Dari Orm. The 1-0 is in there for a strike to Alyssa Brito. That one hopped about 3/4 of the way there for Binford, and it's 2-1.
I still find it impressive every time she steps in this circle. I mean, to go from having an at-bat, playing third base, and then now I'm just going to pitch a little bit, and she's good at all of it.
The 2-1 misses high. Baylor with a 4-run rally in the bottom of the 3rd to lead this game 4-1 here in the top of the 5th on the final day of the Getterman Classic here in Waco. The #1 team in the country, Oklahoma, the 2-time defending national champs, in a 4-1 hole. This one chopped to short. Tovin across the diamond in time, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Aaliyah Binford to start things off. The Oklahoma Sooners, the #1 team in the country, trailing 4-1 here as we start the bottom half of the 5th inning. If you look at their upcoming schedule after what has been, prior to today, a very successful Getterman Classic. Fouled down the line on the first pitch of this bottom half of the 5th. It's Mackenzie Wilson as Baylor is back to the top of the order, and it's an 0-1 count. Prior to today, Oklahoma had been cruising through their first 3 games of the Getterman Classic. Won 10-0 in a run rule against Longwood, won 22-0 in a run rule against Stephen F. Austin, and then 9-0 yesterday against Army in 5 innings. Run ruling all 3 of their opponents thus far, but now here in the finale against Baylor, their conference mate in the Big 12, trailing 4-1 here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. 1-1 to Wilson, slapped into left, right on the line though to Boone, caught on the run, and there's 1 away.
Swinging the bat hard. Wilson's swinging the bat hard, but just, I mean, great effort back there by Boone. I know that's frustrating for her. She is that leadoff hitter that just rocks the her batting average, her on-base percentage, her stolen bases. She's got so much speed. But kudos to the rest of the Baylor team for sticking up when, hey, my leadoff batter doesn't get on. I've got to step up and do something.
Strain swings through strike one. She struck out swinging in the third inning, reached via a walk in the first. That one misses outside, counts 1-1. Strain now 7 for 12 at the plate this year. A .583 batting average. Obviously very small sample sizes this early on in the season, but always nice when you can start the year hot. The 1-1 from Jordy Ball, her 71st pitch of the day. The bunt down the line, fielded brilliantly by Brito for out number 2.
Well, and Strain, that's, I mean, a heads-up move right there. She's a dual threat in the box. She can bunt. She's got power, too. Looks like it was a great bunt. She's got incredible speed. You saw that, but just a little too hard of a bunt.
So Tovin, the shortstop, steps in. She had the RBI single to tie this game at 1 in the third inning. Swings through with a big cut there on strike 1 from Jordy Ball.
I think that's what makes that rise ball so difficult to hit, is it just comes up and it's looking so good. It's going right at your eyes and then just jumps.
Oh, and 2 now to Tovin. For Oklahoma, it's the bottom third of the lineup due up in the top of the 6th. Sanders, Torres, and Boone. The 0-2 swung on and lined into right, but again right at Torres to end the inning. A 1-2 games right here on the Big 12 now on ESPN+. Binford still in the circle for the Bears to face Sydney Sanders to start off the 6th. Binford went 1-2-3 from Haley Lee, Jocelyn Erickson, and Alyssa Brito in the 5th. Looking for more of the same here in the top half of the 6th inning. The 1-0 finds the strike zone. Jordy Ball, meanwhile, has retired 8 straight batters for Oklahoma since she gave up that 4-run inning.
For Baylor, right?
Gavan hit that 3-run homer, but then since then, 8 straight retired by Jordy Ball. But she needs her offense to do something, and the strikeout there of Sanders, not the way she wanted things to start.
Not quite yet.
Beg your pardon, 1 and 2. I jumped the gun. Thought that was strike 3. There's strike 3. I was just foretelling the future. The swinging strikeout of Sydney Sanders. My apologies. I got looking at Jordy Ball's last 8 batters faced, and
that off-speed pitch just can make even the best hitters just look silly.
And now that's 5 straight batters retired by Baylor pitching. The final out retired by Orm in the 4th. 1-2-3 for Binford in the 5th, and now the strikeout of Sanders here to start off the 6th. That one misses outside, ball 1. Torres 1 for 2 on the day. The off speed again in there for a strike.
It's just so deceiving watching that ball. I mean, it's right down the middle. It looks like such an easy pitch, but when you're used to 50 plus, 60, low 60 mile an hour, and then that ball comes in at 40 and 50 miles an hour, it is hard to do something with it.
That one misses high and away for ball 2. It's one of those things where you'd think if you were, as an Oklahoma batter, if you could finally read that the pitch was coming, you could time the thing up pretty easily and make something of it, but the back and forth nature of how Binford likes to pitch makes it hard to know it's coming.
She does. She mixes up her pitches so well. You never know when it's going to come.
That one misses low, and it's 3-1. Torres got a hold of one in the second inning, sent it to straightaway center. The ball that Wilson couldn't quite make a grab on. They officially ruled it a triple for Torres, and she came around to score later in the inning. The only run of the day for Oklahoma. That one is just foul, and it will run the count full, 3-2. Oklahoma went 59-3 a year ago, 18-0 in the Big 12 regular season. Lost in the Big 12 title game to Oklahoma State, but this is not a team that is used to losing softball games. They do get the one-out walk here from Torres to put a runner on for Riley Boone, but they are down 4-1 here in the top half of the 6th. You see a look back at Oklahoma's 2022 season. Of course, the most important line there, 2022 NCAA champions. Oklahoma State, Texas, and UCLA, the only 3 teams to beat them a year ago. As Oklahoma will bring on a pinch runner here. It's Avery Hodge. So Hodge on first for Riley Boone, the left fielder, who's 1 for 2 on the day. Had a single in the 4th inning. Made her way around to second, but no further. Takes a ball to start the at-bat. A 3-run home run to walk it off in the series finale a year ago for Oklahoma over Baylor. Courtesy of T.R.A. Jennings, gave them a 3-1 win over Baylor. The final of a 3-0 sweep in that series. Today they're going to need more of the same in terms of late drama if they're going to come back from this 4-1 deficit. A 2-0 count now to Boone.
We were just talking about how effective Aaliyah Binford has been, and then now she looks like she's really struggling to find the zone here. 5 straight balls.
That one catches the outside half of the plate.
Well, these are the batters that you really want to go at. They have 7, 8, 9 hitters. Retired number 7 batter. Let Aaliyah Torres get on with that walk, and then now struggling here with the number 9 batter in Boone.
The count is 3-1 according to Danny Bowman, our home plate umpire. 1 on, 1 out for number 1 Oklahoma.
I think the last thing you really want is to let Boone get on here as well and then have to face the top of the lineup with only 1 out.
That'll run the count full, 3-2. Jada Coleman, T.R.A. Jennings waiting in the wings for Oklahoma, hoping for an opportunity with some runners on here in the top of the 6th. time called for. A jam-packed Getterman Stadium on the final day of the Getterman Classic here in Waco. The homestanding Baylor Bears up 4-1, but that one's lined down the line and left. That'll go down for a base hit. 2 runners on, and the top of the order for Oklahoma coming to the plate as Boone singles into right.
Just solid swing right there on that outside pitch. She caught all of it, too. You know, West just in her second inning, they're playing at third base, almost in for that left-handed batter. She may have been able to catch that.
Now Patty Gasso wants to talk things over with Jada Coleman, who will now step into the batter's box. Tiare Jennings, who's on deck. And her 2 base runners, Avery Hodge and Riley Boone, on second and first base, respectively. It was striking when you look at NCAA.com has a list of the top 20 players in collegiate softball entering this 2023 season. And of the top 20 players in America, 5 of them play for Oklahoma. They had Tiare Jennings as the #1 player in the country, coming off an All-America campaign last year as a sophomore. She's on deck. Another of those top 20 players, Jada Coleman, at the plate, takes ball 1. They had Coleman as the #15 player in the country. Jennings, #1. Grace Lyons, #4. She's in the hole right after Jennings. Glenn Moore wants to talk things over here.
You kind of see, you know, Casey West at third base going in and out, doesn't know if she's playing in or back. And so Coach Moore's like, you know what, I'm just going to be sure here. Let's get a game plan. Here's my goal. Here's how we get out of this. Here's what we need to do.
Casey West came on at third base in place of Binford when Binford replaced Dariana Orm in the circle. The rest of the defensive lineup for the Baylor Bears remains as it's been all day. Tovin, Pylon, and Gavan, shortstop, second base, and first base. Coyazos behind the dish. And Strain, Wilson, and Hott left to right across the outfield. Runners at first and second, 1 out, top 6. And Jada Coleman at the plate facing a 1-0. Inside for ball 2. Coleman reached in the first and second innings on a walk and an error. Struck out looking in the 4th. The 2-0 from Binford. Swung on and hit into center field, chasing away from Wilson. Down and against the wall. 1 run's going to come around home to score. They're going to hold the runner at third, but Oklahoma's on the board here in the top of the 6th.
Well, and that is what Oklahoma does best. They don't put too much pressure on themselves, but they wait for that good pitch. She got all of that one, hit it solid, and then just incredible base running right there. She had to wait to make sure it wasn't caught, but just the speed there, even from a pinch runner, coming across to score that run.
It's Hodge who scores. Boone around to third. Coleman with the RBI double. And it's runners on second and third. Still just 1 out for Tiare Jennings. The lead is down to 2 now for Baylor. Binford throws strike 1. Baylor scored 4 in the bottom of the 3rd. A 3-run homer from Shaylin Gavan. to lead 4-1. It's now 4-2. That one misses low. Count runs even 1-1.
It's one thing to face the talent of Tiara Jennings. It's another one to do with runners at second and third when you're only up by 2 runs.
Jennings 2 for 3 on the day, a pair of singles. Also reached via fielder's choice. She'll wait now on a 2-1 delivery from Binford. Dari Arm went the first 4 innings for Baylor, scattered 6 hits, gave up just 1 run. Binford was perfect in the 5th, but now 2 hits here in the 6th, and she's given up the 2nd run of the day. That's in there for strike 2, and we're evened up at 2 apiece. Jennings had 29 home runs a year ago. The 2-2 chopped to shortstop. Out at first, but a run comes home to score, and the lead is down to 1 as Boone comes home to the plate.
Not exactly what Jennings wanted to do, but you know what? That's an RBI. Yeah, just completely mishits that ball.
You saw Collazos pointing to first base, confirming to Tobin that the only play was to get the out at first and let the run score. Runner advances to third. It's Coleman, and now Lyons to the plate with the lead down to 1. Strike 1 from Binford. Lyons is 0 for 2 on the day, walked in the first. A ground out and a line out in the 2nd and the 4th inning, so still looking for her first hit of the day. Swung on and fouled away. Ricocheted off the catcher, Collazos.
Take a minute here. Take a deep breath. She says thumbs up, she's good, but you know that's got to sting a little bit.
Give you another look at Collazos catching it right off the knee. But the foul ball for Lyons makes it an 0-2 count here for Binford. Trying to get out of the jam, still with the lead for the Bears. 1-2.
Right idea on the pitch right there. You can see that Grace Lyons was just a little off balance, but wasn't enough to over the plate to get that call.
Tying run, standing on third. The 1-2 swung on and chopped to short. Tovin up with it across the diamond. Baylor gives up 2 in the top half of the 6th, but they hang on to the lead. 4-3 Bears as the Baylor Bears lead 4-3. They led 4-1 after this in the 3rd from Shaylin Gavan. Absolutely roped down the line in left, a 3-run home run to untie the softball game and give Baylor that 4-1 lead. Oklahoma with 2 runs in the top half of the 6th inning. Kelly Levesque to cut this lead down to 1, but Baylor still in front as Gavan steps to the plate here to lead off the bottom half of the 6th. And hits it on a line on the very first pitch of the inning into right field for a single.
Look at her just conquering both sides of the field. I mean, Baylor left that ball last time she was at bat, left that ball down in the zone. She got all of it, putting it over the fence. And then right here, hey, we're not going to pitch her inside again. She knows that. I'm going to take it hard to the other side.
Gavan able to go opposite field with it into right for the single to lead off the inning. And now a pinch runner here for the Baylor Bears is Ashlyn Wachtendorf.
Well, and that's exactly a great start for Baylor right here. They need to answer back with these runs. Like we said, not to be silent and just sit on that 4-run lead, or a 3-run lead, now a 1-run lead. They got to answer back right here, starting with a great laid-off single, and see if they can move her around.
And now Binford steps in, takes ball 1 at her feet. The single from Gavan, the first time anybody from Baylor had reached base since her 3-run home run in the 3rd inning.
Almost put the exclamation point on it there, but hey, that's not the end of a sentence. We still got more work to do.
Binford chops it foul. Jordy Ball had retired 8 in a row since that 3-run homer from Gavan. So Walkendorf at first base, pinch running for Gavan. As Baylor clings to this 1-run lead, 4-3 in the bottom half of the 6th. Binford squares to bunt, drops it down. Brito again up to the task, but around to second goes Walkendorf.
Brito has got her money's worth over there with the bunts Baylor's laid down today. But Binford just sacrificed herself right there, turns around, trying to get an insurance run across. Can't have too many of those against Oklahoma. Insurance runs.
There's no doubt of that. They'd feel an awful lot more comfortable heading to the top half of the 7th with a 2-run lead, or they wouldn't mind more. Hot, on a line to short for out number 2. So Lions give a look real quick to second base to chase Walkendorf back to the bag.
Keep her honest.
So Casey West now steps in after she took over at third base after the 4th inning. West taking Anna Watson's place in the batting order. She was the designated player today. Struck out swinging in the 2nd, looking in the 4th. And now yields to West, who's playing 3rd. Runner on 2nd, 2 outs here. Bottom 6. And West fouls it away for strike 1. The second half of our doubleheader here in the Getterman Classic. Baylor hosting Army coming your way a half an hour after this one wraps up.
There's more softball on deck.
Inside for a ball, and the count's even 1-1. Baylor hoping that they'll walk into that game 7-1 and with one of the bigger upsets of the early softball season in their back pocket. But still some work done to make that happen. The 1-1 from Jordy Ball. High and tight and hit her on the elbow. So West down to first. Just grazed the bottom of her elbow.
She's standing pretty upright too, and
that's why you wear the elbow pad. So 2 on now for Sydney Coyazos, the catcher. 0 for 2 on the day.
Anna
Watson's going to come right back. Top half of the 7th inning in a 1-run game. The Baylor Bears leading number 1 Oklahoma 4-3 as the Sooners come to the plate. Their last opportunity here to erase this Baylor lead. Haley Lee, Jocelyn Erickson, Alyssa Brito due up here in the top half of the 7th. And in fact, it's going to be Quincy Lilio to pinch hit here to lead off for Oklahoma in the 7th.
Oklahoma here giving another look to some of her other players. Freshmen here.
Lilio early on this season, just 6 at-bats, but 3 hits in those 6 at-bats. Binford stays in for Baylor. Misses low with the first pitch. Binford was perfect in the 5th, gave up the 2 runs in the 6th. Evens the count at 1-1. The 1-1 to Lilio. Squared to bunt, strike 2.
Well, and if you're Leah Binford right here and you're in the circle for Baylor, like, you've got to come right at Lilio, a pinch hitter. Start the last inning, you know your team needs 3 outs. You don't want to mess around too much with her. You just do want to set that standard and okay, I'm going to go right at her. Start firing this down.
The freshman chops it right to Tovin on the line. There's 1 out.
And that's exactly what set the standards. You set the pace right there. But like you said, you can never sleep on Oklahoma, even with 1 out left. And you got a great freshman hitter right here in Jocelyn Erickson. I mean, who's done so much for this team already, coming in, hitting .643 today. Dropped a little bit, still hitting .588.
1 for 3 on the day. She singled in her first at bat, swings through, strike 1. The single in the first, but then 2 ground outs to Gavan at first. Gavan, of course, has the 3-run homer that has Baylor still clinging to this 1-run lead. That's in there for strike 2, and it's an 0-2 count now to Erickson.
And this Baylor team is just playing so well today against Oklahoma, really hanging in there, still in having the lead right now, but to know that I've got to face them 3 more times at home again this year.
What a boost of confidence it would be, though, for
Absolutely.
this Baylor program and for head coach Glenn Moore to know that early on this season you've had this kind of performance against the #1 team in the country.
Yeah, I mean, no matter how this game ends, too, but just to know, like, they're #1 in the nation. It's early in the season for both teams.
Swung on and drilled down the line, but way foul. And they'll redo the 1-2. You could feel the tension of the Baylor fans here at Getterman Stadium as that ball was hit on a line. Binford checks her forearm, and now the 1-2. Just outside. She thought it was strike 3, and so did 1,200 umpires here at Getterman Stadium.
Well, and I think a couple jumped out of the dugout over there, out of the Baylor dugout as well.
Collazos did her best to frame it as best she could.
She even had the little fist bump right there, thought for sure that was it.
Counts even 2-2. Another offering from Binford. Swung on, popped right into the waiting glove of Tovin, and there's 2 away.
Well, and that has just been the most effective play all day today for this Baylor team. Saw it first with Dari Orm, is not tons of strikeouts, but it's definitely just letting them hit that ball right to your defense. You got a solid defense behind you.
Top 7, 2 away, a 1-run lead for Oklahoma, and Alyssa Brito will step in 1 for 3 on the day. The Sooners' third baseman had a single in the 3rd inning. A pair of ground outs, bookending that in the 1st and 5th. Now she steps in here in the top of the 7th with the #1 Sooners down by a run. Relying on her to keep their day alive. Strike 1. Oklahoma won their first 3 games this weekend by a combined 41-0 over Longwood, Stephen F. Austin, and Army. Run ruling all 3. Today, a different story against a more difficult test, an in-conference opponent in Baylor. And they trail 4-3. The 0-1 just outside.
Well, and on top of that, too, this entire season, Oklahoma has only allowed 4 runs the entire season. That was in a 5-4 win against Washington in last weekend's tournament.
You said it before we came on the air. They've lost 15 games in 10 years. Down the line, but foul. Gavan thought she had the final out in her glove.
And it hit off the end of the bat, so umpire wants to take a look at that ball. But man, if you could get that out right there, just inches.
We've seen Oklahoma do it so many times, coming back late in games to win in clutch situations. Does Alyssa Brito have a clutch hit in her here to keep this game going? Binford looks at her forearm. The 1-2 bounces. Count is even 2-2.
Payoff pitch right here. It's what it's all worth. Who's going to win this at bat?
The 2-2 from Binford. Count runs full.
You can definitely feel the energy in the place.
The home Baylor crowd wanted that one, but that one was pretty clearly outside. And the count has run full at 3-2 as Glenn Moore looks on. His 23rd year at the helm for the Baylor Bears. The 3-2 swung on and popped into center field. Underneath it is Wilson, out number 3, and the Baylor Bears with a 4-3 win over the #1 team in the country. The Bears take down Oklahoma.
Well, we talked earlier in the game that Coach Moore mentioned it too. It's not necessarily about the win, but it's how you can grow as players and how you can take something from this early in the season. And you got to have so much confidence taking off the #1 team this early and knowing, hey, we've got 3 more games against them still too.
A 1-2-3 inning from Aaliyah Binford in the top half of the 7th. And the final out, landing in the waiting glove of Mackenzie Wilson in center field. And the Baylor Bears move to 7-1 on the year. This one, though, a little more meaningful than the other 6.
Absolutely. You got to love that. Just such a big win and so much confidence. Great game between both teams, too, for sure.
You see it right there on your screen. Army-Baylor coming your way in 35 minutes' time. But Baylor moves to 7-1. Dari Orm with 4 great innings.